Rome, from myth to empire, from law and government to architecture and infrastructure, from literature and the arts to the very roots of modern languages, the influence of the Roman Empire is still alive today. Rome's legendary beginnings trace back to Alba Longa, a Latin city. There, twin sons of the war god Mars and the priestess were condemned to die by their yet Romulus and Remus survived, nurtured by a she-wolf and later raised by a humble shepherd. As adults, the brothers attempted to found a city together, but a bitter quarrel ended with Romulus killing Remus. Romulus became king and declared Rome an asylum city, which quickly drew all sorts of shady characters from nearby regions. With few women among the settlers, the Romans abducted women from neighboring communities, an infamous event remembered as the rape of the Sabine women. In time, Romulus and the Sabine king agreed to share power. Rome's early monarchy followed a grim pattern that would reappear throughout its history, rulers dying violently or mysteriously. The Sabine king, Titus Titius, was killed during unrest. Romulus himself vanished in a storm. Legend says he became the god Quirinus, though more likely he was assassinated. His successor, Numa Pompilius, brought lasting traditions like the 12-month calendar, the Vestal Virgins, and the role of Pontifex Maximus. 5 kings followed, ending with Tarquin the Proud, who killed his predecessor. His oppressive rule led to revolt, and in the late 6th century BCE the Roman Republic was born. Initially, Rome's political and religious control rested with a few elite families, the patrici. The majority, plebeians, had no power. But from 494 to 287 BCE, a series of protests won some rights, plebeian assemblies, elected tribunes, and written laws, the 12 Tables. Over time, wealthy plebeians gained equal legal status with patricians, though little changed for the poor. Rome spent the following centuries at war, eventually dominating the entire Italian peninsula. By 130 BCE, victories in the Punic Wars brought Carthage, Spain, and North Africa under Roman control. General Marius reformed the army in 100 BCE, offering pay and land to soldiers. This allowed rich men to build personal armies, deepening corruption. Civil war broke out in 88 BCE when Marius' rival, Sulla, marched on Rome. He emerged victorious and became dictator. In 49 BCE, civil war loomed again as Julius Caesar, hero of Gaul, crossed the Rubicon with his army. His opponent, the Cynic and former ally Pompey. Pompey fled to Egypt but was executed on Pharaoh Ptolemy XIII's orders, a misstep meant to impress Caesar. Instead, Caesar met Cleopatra, sparking a famous affair and the pharaoh's downfall. In Rome, Caesar's leniency toward enemies only increased his popularity. Named dictator for 10 years, he soon claimed the title for life in 44 BCE, effectively sealing his fate. On the Ides of March, around 40 senators stabbed him to death inside the Senate. The assassins, known as the Liberators, misjudged public support. Civil war returned, this time featuring Caesar's heir Octavian, Mark Antony, and Cleopatra. With the defeat and suicides of Antony and Cleopatra, Octavian emerged as sole ruler. Egypt and its grain became Roman property. The Republic was no more. In 27 BCE, Octavian became Augustus, emperor, son of the god Caesar. Though the Senate remained, it mainly rubber-stamped imperial decisions. His 41-year reign ushered in peace, prosperity, and cultural bloom. Augustus created roads, a courier network, and a permanent army, police, and firefighting force. Rome's urban transformation began in earnest. The empire expanded into Central Europe and conquered Spain. But after a brutal defeat in Germania in 09 AD, further expansion into the region ceased. When Augustus died in 14 AD, Tiberius, his stepson, took over. Though competent, he was aloof, leaving power in the hands of the ambitious Caesar. After Sejanus murdered rivals, Tiberius launched a deadly purge. Ironically, he may have been poisoned by his successor, Caligula. Our at first welcomed, Caligula soon revealed the dark side. During his short 4-year reign, he declared himself divine, executed many, and pursued incestuous relationships with his sisters. The Praetorian Guard killed him and appointed his uncle. An unlikely emperor, Claudius had physical impairments and lived quietly until unexpectedly crowned. He proved capable, building infrastructure and starting the conquest of Britain. In 54 AD, he died, possibly poisoned by his wife, paving the way for his son. Nero is infamous for fiddling while Rome burned, blaming Christians for the Great Fire of 64 AD. He distracted the public from the empire's bankruptcy. A tyrant, Nero executed critics and lost the army's loyalty. In 68 AD, declared an enemy of the state, he took his own life. The Flavians with no heir, for men vied for power. The last was Vespasian, a military man from the equestrian class. Crowned in 69 AD, he repaired Rome's finances and began building the Colosseum. Funded by loot from Judea, his son Titus suppressed a major Jewish revolt, then ruled briefly before his brother Domitian succeeded him in 81 AD. Though autocratic Domitian's reign brought stability and prosperity, Vitalis' conspiracies ended with his murder. The 2nd century AD was marked by calm under the Nerva-Antonine dynasty. These emperors were adopted successors, not sons. Trajan expanded Rome's reach from the Caspian Sea to Hadrian, builder of the famous wall, secured the empire's limits. Marcus Aurelius, philosopher king, ruled wisely. His son Commodus, however, was a delusional megalomaniac who fancied himself a gladiator. He was strangled in 192 AD. Commodus' death triggered the imperial crisis, a turbulent century with 29 emperors, most assassinated. In 284 AD, Soul-Returned Emperor Diocletian split the empire into Greek-speaking East and Latin-speaking West, each ruled by an Augustus and a junior Caesar. This tetrarchy lasted only a few decades but restored order. Christians were persecuted under Diocletian, who styled himself as Jupiter incarnate. Churches were razed, scriptures burned. The persecution, however, strengthened the Christian faith. Diocletian and Maximian abdicated in 305 AD, sparking succession battles. Constantine the Great from this chaos emerged. Constantine, son of a former Caesar, after claiming the Western Empire, he legalized Christianity, attributing his victories to divine favor. In the East, Licinius oppressed Christians. Fearing rebellion, the two clashed in 324 AD. Constantine won and united the empire. Christianity, pagan practices like animal sacrifice, gladiator combat, and crucifixion were banned. Constantine founded a new capital, New Rome, on Byzantium's site, later called Constantinople. It became the heart of the Eastern Empire and a symbol of renewal. The fall of Rome eventually, the empire divided again. In 476 AD, the Western Roman Empire collapsed under the weight of invasions and internal decay. But the Eastern Roman or Byzantine Empire endured another 1,000 years, finally falling to the Ottomans in 1453. The Roman Empire's long, remarkable journey came to an end.